All right, we are live. I still have to get hooked up here. It has been a while since I've been live, so I figured I need to make it happen tonight. It is Friday nights with Jake. Instead of a computer tonight, I'll be checking on comments on my old annihilated phone. So we'll get that rocking and rolling. Hopefully that works for us today here. Um, get this plugged in. And I've got a whole bunch of knives to talk about. I think I'm going to do an auction for a very special adventure craft tomorrow. I've got some cool plans, but as always, what's up? As always, this is a live feed. Therefore, we can end up talking about just about anything, and we could potentially end up not talking about knives at all. All right, so I am up in the comments section right there. And Freakness. Red Gat, how are you doing? I hope you're well. I figured I'd give you guys a little bit of an update. So I started working a full-time job, and while I'm laying tile, if you didn't know from Instagram, while I started doing a full-time job, hey Levi, I simultaneously got donkey stomped with about a million sling orders. Hopefully I'm going to be completely caught up on that by tomorrow or this weekend. But what that has led to is a lack of adventures and a lack of filming on my part. So if the YouTube content has been a little bit few and far between, which it has, I do apologize. So that's what's going on with that. We'll probably talk about this a little bit later as well, but a quick mention. I believe tomorrow we will be auctioning off the legendary Adventure Craft number 12. If you guys are followers of Exodus Knife and Tool, what's up, Weston? This Adventure Craft is the one that was originally broken. This is my first warranty claim by American Bushcraft, great guy. And he has agreed. He obviously he broke it, but he sharpened her all back up. It's psycho sharp. He donated the knife to the channel to auction it off to aid Exodus Knife and Tool as I transition, at least for the Adventure Craft and Jackalope, from Mineral Mountain Hatchet Works to White River Knives. It's a really big deal. You guys can ask me any questions you want, but White River Knives is a really, really big deal. And I think that the bang for the buck that people are going to get is just, for knife people, is just going to be astronomical. These knives aren't priced for the average person because there's no way for me to offer a knife that's priced for the regular person. They do. Actually, Red Gat asked if White River Knives hates commies. I will most likely never go into White River Knives' political stance. But if they're pro-commie, I can assure you that we will not work together because I don't like commies. In fact, I am currently wearing the I Hate Communists Beach and Tactical t-shirt. I need to get back onto doing the t-shirts for sure. I get asked about them fairly often. The problem is when I do end up making them, they usually don't sell that well. I usually don't really make any money. I try and sell them as cheap as I can. I don't know. Maybe it'll pick up and be better next time. So there is that. Now, I'm not sure what my relationship with Mineral Mountain Hatchet Works will be going forward. They're having a few struggles right now. They've got some stuff going on. I don't blame them. I'm not mad at them. There's no bad blood, nothing like that. I do hope that we can continue to work together. I think that they are a great manufacturer for some of the stuff I'll be doing, like this. This is the Exodus Knife and Tool Legionnaire Combat. And my brother, who's deployed to the border, just got his with Grizzly Outdoors Kydex. It's so good. I think this knife is going to just freaking knock people's socks off. So, you know, and Mineral Mountain Hatchworks did a great job of it. So hopefully in the future we can continue to do that. This sheath for the Legionnaire Combat, by the way, this is buffalo hide, just ultra premium, ultra fancy stuff, is made by NC Custom Leather. It's still tight from being new, but a good bit more use and time, and it'll loosen right up. The sheath also fits the Legionnaire Field, which is essentially the same knife, but it's 3/16 of an inch instead of a quarter. It has no fuller. It's a full flat grind, and it has no separate guard. It's all one piece, full tang obviously, and it doesn't have different color handle materials here. And that the point of all of that is to try and get the price down while keeping the practical application of the knife. Red Gap, by the way, any update on the commies that jacked your knife design? Do we need a fire mission on those buggers? You know, what I thought I was going to do is I thought that I was going to do a YouTube video saying it was a review of their knife where I used my adventure craft, a little bit tongue-in-cheek, you know. I'm not going to do that. And I'd say I'm probably 75% sure that they just straight up ripped off the adventure craft, but it's going to happen. So, you know, if you guys want to drop them a line and tell them they suck, that's fine, but it is what it is. Someone will accuse me at some point of doing the same thing. So, you know, whatever. They'll be wrong. And in this case, we were probably right, but that's not important. I appreciate the sentiment. I did know them before. Survive Knives, I do not know them personally, but I'm familiar with their brand. And I would say I certainly have many people and customers and friends who are in their circle, if not them themselves. So who knows? Potentially, you know, it could have been that one of them bought the adventure craft, thought it was phenomenal, and thought that they would upscale the design 25%, thought that they could tweak it here and there and make it better and re-release it. You know, not that any other knife company is making a, or that any private brand in the last flipping who knows how many years is making the French Foreign Legion bowies, which are hacked down from doggone World War I bayonets. However, that is essentially what I did with this design. This is supposed to be pay homage to the original French Foreign Legion fighting knives. And so I took an existing knife design, I tweaked it to be a little bit more modern, and I'm producing it. It's kind of how the knife community and the knife world works. I don't know. It is what it is. Let's see. So I'm at a point in my life where I'm behind on knife reviews. To be honest with you, I really don't even want to be a knife channel, but clearly I'm passionate about knives, and that's what has happened. But I really should not be buying any more knives. I really should not. But I did. I went and I bought a Scrapyard Knives Trash 2. It'll be a knife that's very similar to the SE Hunglis 2 and similar in dimension to the Becker BK9. So that's going to be very entertaining. Because of that, I'm going to be selling a lot of knives. And you know, some of these I shouldn't sell, and I hope none of these hurt anybody's feelings. It's kind of, some of them I'll probably review really quick this week. It's just kind of like, you know, I wanted to buy this knife to review, and I've got to sell some knives, and I've got a million knives for every category. One will probably be the Ontario Blackbird. So if you guys want one of these, hit me up, and I will. If anybody in this video contacts me, is like, I saw the knife in your video and I would like to buy it, you know, in the next, you know, tonight or tomorrow, I will certainly hook you up with a bro price. Ontario Blackbird SK5. Feel free to ask questions about any of these if you want. I might do the Tops Roughneck. I actually still want to keep this one because it's just so ridiculous. This little tiny knife is 3/8 of an inch thick. I don't review a lot of Tops. Like most Tops that I've had experience with, the sheath is certainly subpar to the point of just almost negligence. It's just barely in there. I'll probably let that go if I have to. If I don't have to, if I can sell other knives and make up the cost, then I won't let go of that one. Tops Crowhawk. I let that go for a song. And then I've got a custom that I would let go, Joey Roman Necker, kind of a more expensive knife, a custom in 1095, and it's actually phenomenal, I'm not gonna lie. So enough. Oh, and if I need to also, I will let go of my SE Laser Strike with modified SE scales and some cool leather belt dangler and ferro rod holder attachments for the stock sheath. Modified SE has just screwed me at this point. He's essentially stolen a pair of Azula scales and a SE Gibson pinch from me. I'm not happy about that. And I've been messaging him about it for like a year now, and he just stops answering messages. Not a good deal. Over and over and over again, I have requested that I could pay him to return my knife and my scales and stuff, and he won't. I don't know why. It sucks, but whatever. The modified SE, that is Jeff Reed. He got busy. He stopped modifying SEs. He said he was still, who knows? It's not a good deal. People like reach out to me and they're like, hey dude, I'll hook you up. And I'm like, cool, what did they have to lose? What does anybody have to gain from screwing me? And then they screw me. All right, guys. So I don't want to talk about that anymore unless anybody has questions about any of those knives. Man, unless we're about to get into politics, let's talk about okay, one more knife thing. My buddy American Bushcraft did send me traded me a set of TKC scales for the SEPR4 and the TKC sheath that goes with them. These scales are thicker, so they would not work in my Yellow Hawk custom Kydex sheath. They're comfortable in hand. I'm not sure if I like them better. They are certainly going to be better for certain things, but I'm not sure that I will like them better overall, because part of what I liked about the factory SEPR4 is that it's essentially a full-size belt knife, but with the ultra thin scales that it comes with, I find them to still be extremely comfortable, and they make the knife pack and feel like a much smaller knife. Whereas this fills the hand. I'm sure it would be more comfortable in long-term use, but again, it feels like a full-size knife, so it might have lost a little bit of that odd allure to me. Sheath is quite nice. It really is quite a nice Kydex sheath. And let's just talk real quick about the best value chopping knife, in my opinion, that is on the market. This is a blade that just simply blows me away for the price, and I think it should get a lot more attention than it does, and that is the Ontario SP5. This is my third or fourth Ontario SP5 for some reason. I actually bought this from a friend. It's the grind on it is a little bit wonky. It's not the same side to side, which is kind of a bummer. I wish it was. It's one of the old ones in 1095 with a sharpened swedge, which is not ideal. However, it is a cool way to have a striker on your blade without a square spine, so you can use this for throwing sparks. But they don't do that anymore. They don't have the sharpened swedge, I don't think, anymore. But you can choke up on the ricasso here. What's really crazy about these new are made out of 1075 high carbon steel, which I think is great. 10-inch blade, 1/4 inch thick. They're $50. It's just impressive. It's just wild. If we're going to continue talking about knives until any questions come in, so why did I buy the Bussy? I've had a Bussy family knife before. It was, I believe, the 1011. I traded that to Chris Tanner, who I believe did review it, and I think he also was a little bit underwhelmed with it. Had a big, thick edge. Thick edge on that thing. Actually, crazy story. The guy I bought this knife from, I also bought that knife from. Then I traded that knife to Chris Tanner for his unused, essentially, White River Knives FC5. I don't know how all of these knife reviewers sell and trade knives that are basically new, but they save face as reviewers. I don't understand how that works. But traded it to him for the 10th ever White River Knives FC5. That was my introduction to White River Knives. Fell in love with them. They're freaking amazing. But I was tempted into trading that knife for a Joey Roman custom. Things didn't work out too well with that Joey Roman custom. I sent it back to him, and now he has sent me this. So somehow I went from a Bussy Group blade knife with a 10-inch blade to this little necker. I always lose in trades. Always trade down. I always lose. Which is why I bought the other one brand new. The reason that I got it is because I like comparing blades, and when people ask me if a knife is good, I want to be able to tell them that it is or is not good compared to another metric that they will understand. And it does help that Bussy and them have an incredible cult-like following, and which means that whether I review the knife positively or negatively, people will pay attention. So that's always a good thing. So I guess that's about it. Let me know if you guys have any questions. We can talk about just about anything. I know that I need to advertise live shows when I'm going to do them, or a little bit earlier and let people know a little bit longer. It's just been hard with this work schedule, getting used to it, but I'm starting to get better, starting to get more YouTube videos going. I just need to get an adventure in, though, because like I said, I'm working Monday through Friday. In between the work and the drive, I don't have a lot of time for much else. And then on the weekends, I've been making slings. I was hoping to finish all of my work this weekend so that I could go on an exploration trip on Sunday. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I've got a wholesale order that I need to at least sew probably on Sunday if I can get everything else done tomorrow. So 37 South, how are you doing? Good to have you. Yeah, I would say that this could be your first live talk. Feel free to ask me about anything. I can go over anything I've talked about. I really don't care. We don't have a lot of people here. So if you've got questions, now is definitely a good time to get them straight from the horse of the mouth immediately. I was just talking about how good the Ontario SP5 is for the money. And I'm sitting here holding this knife, and I'm like, this thing is just so good. Also dirty. Oh, the reason I brought this out, I've been using this for the past couple of weeks. I've been using it for years, but I've been using it the past couple of weeks for hacking down tree limbs around where my goats currently are, my goat mama and her kids, so that they can have a little bit of extra stuff to eat. And it's just such a good working knife. And for 50 bucks, it's made in America. It was 10.95, now it's 10.75. It's just amazing. So I'm guessing that we're all kind of over talking about the coronavirus. I'm sure all of you know where I stand on that. I'm sure some of you don't appreciate where I stand on that, but it is what it is. If you guys have questions, though, certainly feel free to let me know. Do I have any folders? So I do, and I have done a few folder videos. However, I, as a knife reviewer, am not known for my folder videos. Not a lot of folder content. I have reviewed, and in my rotation is a Spyderco Paramilitary 2 and S35 VN. One of the old Hogue Ritter survival knife version 2s. Mine's the one in M390. And oh yeah, and a Hogue EX02. And in 154 cm, phenomenal hard use knife. Yeah, so I do them, but I guess if that's what you're really into, I'm not the best source, I'll just be honest. Let's see. Banana machete. You grow tons of fruit. 6 Gorillion sea monkeys. Where do you grow fruit? I'm interested. What's up, Flatjacks? Okay, any new Beechin products on the horizon? For quite some time now, I have wanted to do the Beechin Tactical Infinite Sling, and it's a sling that will be user adjustable for anything from a pistol to a full-sized rifle, but it will be designed to be incredibly compact and to be stored, folded up, and be completely out of the way, and then also rapidly deployable. I don't have the time for R&D right now at all. I really don't. So I don't see that coming out very soon. And really, as I'm working this job, I am focusing more of my attention on Exodus Knife and Tool, my knife brand, to be honest. 37 asked if I ever got my hands on a Nessie Skinner from William Collins. I have not. I haven't gotten any William Collins stuff. Richard, how are you doing, buddy? I'm glad to have you on here. And also, Richard, I have to meet up with you sometime soon, Lord willing. So let me know the next time you're going to be on this side of the pond, whether it's an NRA show or whatever. It'd be cool if you came for Blade Show. You might be able to tag along with some of the English knife makers that come over here. Poor English knife makers. They've got it hard over there in that country right now. So, okay. Florida Gulf Coast and soon just South America, Andes, and lowlands, all exotics. How'd you get into doing that? That sounds pretty wild. As I understand it, doing fruit in South America can be a little bit political. All right, Corey asked said that he saw me on a tactical response video. He says he assumes I took a class and asked me how it was. So I have taken multiple tactical response classes. I'll be taking some more soon. I've taken Way of the Pistol, which is a 5-day pistol course. I've taken Active Shooter, Media Action Medical, and I've taken their instructor class. So I'm a certified by tactical response instructor. That was a very interesting class. Very good. It's tactical response is really a game changer. Half of what is a game changer is really the tactics and mindset behind what we do, and the other half is realizing what training is and how badly you need it, and the difference between training and practice and plinking. And the reason I say that is once you take a class at tactical response, you learn in training how to do certain things, and you can practice what you learn on your own free time. You realize that you need to learn in training more stuff. And then the downside to training at tactical response is that 80, 90, 95, 99% of the time when you talk about anything tactical or firearms related for the rest of your life, you're going to realize that you're surrounded by a bunch of potatoes, and it will make you want to bang your head against the wall. So definitely, it's a definitely, I would say it's a must do for sure. What's up, Nerve 102? All right. Starting a new village, Grillian. That sounds amazing. You should probably hit me up about that. I'm interested. Richard, that's terrible. So many people are laid off right now, and it's just absolutely a shame. Blade Show will be in August. I don't remember the exact dates off the top of my head. The downside to meeting me at Blade Show for anybody interested is I think this year I'll only be able to go one day. I'll probably drive up early in the morning and drive home on the same day because it's really close to my wife's due date for our next son. So even doing that might cause some contention. She doesn't really want me going this year, but I need to. So we'll see. Yeah, potatoes are from the Andes. I'm familiar. I guess they've come a long way around the world, and potatoes are definitely on the list of my favorite things, except when people are potatoes. Potatoes taste good, but they're not very smart. Levi. So, what I do, Levi said if you use mil-spec flat ribbon instead of webbing, you can run through swivel loop back into tri-glide and have no dangle strap end. Pull tab on center of tri-glide, adjust to half and full sling length. So essentially, that's exactly what we'll be doing. I use mil-spec webbing, so it's essentially the same thing. And one thing with tri-glides that people don't realize, that all of my slings are designed with extra length for the straps. And really what should be done is every strap that goes through a tri-glide has to be ran back through the tri-glide to be locked. Then, as per airborne specification, that tri-glide should also be duct taped, and excess should be cut or S-rolled and duct taped. But that doesn't happen very often, and just locking them into the tri-glide is definitely good enough and leaves you enough sling for later. But yeah, dangling webbing, the part of the a part of the speed sling is dangling webbing that makes it easy to use. But outside of that, it just irritates me. Bring the wife, problem solved. You're actually not the first person that said that to me. That's funny. Grillian said, congratulations making kids. Wish I had more. Yeah, so this will be boy number 2. And as far as we know, if everything goes smoothly, we want to have like at least 5 kids. So we'll see how that goes. For anybody new that hasn't been here before that follows me, Exodus Knife and Tool, unless I need to do it next weekend, but I might do it tomorrow or Sunday. I am planning pretty soon on auctioning off this adventure craft. It is the legendary serial number 12, the first adventure craft that was broken, and it was modified. This is going to be forever a legendary piece of Exodus Knife and Tool kit. It was graciously donated to the channel by American Bushcraft. Thank you so much. Ordered a Surefire Scout DF today. Any experience or recs on how to run it? Pressure pad or tail switch? So I run my lights different than anybody. I want my light as far back on my rail as possible. And everybody's like, oh, it'll throw a shadow. Like, who cares? I don't care if I have a little blind spot of light on one side. It never affected me. I never cared about it in the past. I got to do, nighttime no-knock raids and crap like that, and didn't bother me. But always having the weight of a light at the very front of your rifle certainly does bother me. I don't really like switches, but if you're going to use a tail cap, you pretty much have to have a vertical foregrip and have it positioned where it's just right there. That can be hard to do. You've already purchased a light, but the ultimate, in my opinion, the ultimate answer to that is the Cloud Defensive Owl Optimal Weapons Light. It mounts on your top rail, and the button is on the top of it. So it's just always right there. Freaking amazing light. It's expensive, but people are always, I need to talk more about weapons lights on this channel. People are always talking about weapons lights, and the next thing they always talk about is what's the best budget weapons light. You cannot skimp on a weapons light. That's like asking to die. It's like carrying a pistol without a round in the chamber. All right, I'm getting on a tangent here. Chris Costa's handgun class. I've ate with Chris Costa and hung out with him a few times. I would like to take one of his classes for sure. Using a suppressor. Yeah, I wish I could use a suppressor. If suppressors weren't on a special boy list, I would already own a few. I'd probably always use them, but it is what it is. I have not run the Owl through a class yet. The plan, I think, is to do that maybe in July. I might not be able to do it in July. Maybe it's in August. In the next class I take. Okay, I have a problem with that. The rifle that I'm building for that class, I'm pretty sure the post office just lost my upper and my Leo takedown kit that I sent to a friend to have machined. So I need to figure that out, because if the post office lost that and I only get my $50 insurance or whatever, I'm going to be devastated. I think it would be the first thing that the post office has ever lost that I have shipped. And this would not be the right thing to have lost. This will suck if it got lost. $37 said, we've got 5 kids, 6 after they adopted one. Scary to have your hands full. I'm excited. Yeah, having 5 kids and a ton of goat kids and potentially puppies and kittens and chicks and everything else will be a handful. I am excited, however, for them to get older because I need children for their labor. So hopefully that works well. We're gonna have lots of goats. We're gonna have lots of We have lots of goats to milk and lots of kids to bottle feed. It's gonna be a pain in the butt. It's crazy that certain flashlights would be illegal in other countries. That's disgusting. So Nerve said when he got prepared mine's JX5, it got lost in the mail. He was pissed. That's another big thing to lose in the mail. This upper, the Leo takedown is quite expensive in the upper. It'd be a bigger loss than that, but I definitely feel the pain there. I've been building up to this whole Leo takedown Deadfoot Arms build for like 6 or 8 months. I don't know what I will do if the post office loses it, and I will be devastated. It'll be a bad deal. So Red Gat had a post woman convicted of stealing their mail, and she's in federal prison now. That's so satisfying. That is so satisfying. Yeah, if my package is gone, I know it didn't get lost. I know it didn't get destroyed. So if it's gone, it's because someone stole my stuff. In which case, I would love for that person. I don't really want them to go to prison because I don't want to pay for them to be in prison, but I do want them to go to prison because that's what they deserve. I hate thieves. That's crazy, man. I hope I don't have to deal with that. I really, really, really do not want to. All right, anybody got any questions about knives for sale, or does anybody have some freaking fireball topics they want to discuss? Now would be the time. Gun Cotton said, here in Canada, we do not have those issues. Lawn gnomes deliver everything, and they never mess around. Yeah, lawn gnomes. We don't have lawn gnomes around here, though. You know, Ireland's got the doggone leprechauns. Y'all got lawn gnomes and maple syrup and hockey, and we just got the U.S. Post Office, which is government ran. Not a good deal. That's awesome, Nerve, about that JX5. That's really cool that Chris did that. Me and Chris used to talk a lot. He actually wanted to make one of my knife designs, add one of my knife designs to his Jessica series and have it produced by Bark River as well. That was my Gunslinger. That is a knife that I am going to be releasing. I think now, though, I want to release it with both the original curved handle and with a straight handle. We will see. But everybody who has held that absolutely loved it. Peter Kohler loved it. Zeke loved it. Chris Tanner wanted to add it to his line. It was a cool deal. Me and Chris Tanner had a weird falling out. Whatever. Good news on the rocket stove. All right, so Corey said I could have had a very good job and gave it up. Am I happy with the decision I made out of the military and still haven't found anything comparable? Happiness. Woods bring better life. Okay. So I didn't have a better job that I gave up. I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, And with my military background, I was looking at law enforcement jobs and stuff like that. And I had a few lined up that would have been very good, and I decided not to go that route. And the reason I decided not to is because I realized that I would probably hate them for some of the same reasons that I hated being in the military. And when I say that, it's kind of weird because I kind of loved being in the military, but obviously there are issues. Do the woods bring a better life? I was able to start my own business. As you saw in the video, I don't make a whole lot of money, but I got a little house, I got acreage, I'm in the middle of nowhere. And so not having as much money as normal people might have at times is stressful. And yet you've got to consider that I've got my firearms, I've got more knives than any 10 men have any need for. So I'm not living in poverty. Although I would say if I drank and or smoked and or did drugs, I probably would be living in poverty. But we don't do any of those things. And we make, my wife cooks our food and I make my lunches. We don't really eat out much. So, I would say that overall it's a much, much better lifestyle, especially I was able to produce my rifle sling that I made, designed in Afghanistan. And I started this YouTube channel so that someday I could sell my name and become something more, make more money. And with my knives, maybe that's about to happen. People are actually taking me seriously, and I'm actually talking to White River, which I didn't think was possible because they're so big. It's really amazing to me that I would even be able to get their attention to be able to pursue that. So, yeah, it's a different path. I wouldn't say it's an easier path. I would say staying in the military is easier. That's why all the dirtbags stay in. I'd say getting a normal job would, in a lot of ways, be easier because you don't have to worry about things all the time. But I would say that the path that I took is more fulfilling. And my goal eventually would be to do knives, to do adventures, and to do goats, and to do homeschooling. Just sell goats, sell knives, go on adventures to promote the knives, go to knife trade shows, blade show, and maybe even shot shows, stuff like that. But raise my kids and teach my kids, So oh wow. Grillian was Irish. Irish mom, German dad. Wow. Only thing I can get right now is food and beer. That's weird. Okay, so 37 South said, so why not move to Camden and work for James Yeager at Tactical Response instead of laying tile? Just curious. Well, the job at Tactical Response wasn't offered to me, which I'm not. When I said that, it sounded like I had like some kind of ill intention. Or no, that's I don't know that was ever going to be a card on the table. So I'm laying tile for my best friend here. I have a little bit of freedom. And I don't know. First off, moving would be hard. Definitely. Because I need land. And I hate moving. And that does play a part of it. But that's a hard question. But I didn't find myself in a position where one friend said, do you want to lay tile with me? And another friend said, do you want to train people with me? That's not really the decision that I had to make. With that being said, I am planning on getting a curriculum together for bushcraft classes, and I do think that I'll talk to James and see if he would like me to come down there and teach bushcraft classes, maybe once a month, maybe once a year. I don't know, but it's something that I would like to do, and I think it could be mutually beneficial. So Nerve said Chris is a nice guy overall. He's into some interesting things. As a Christian, I don't approve of, but everyone has their faults. I totally agree. Actually, so here's what happened. I'm just going to tell you guys what happened because I don't really care. On here, 37 made fun of Chris Tanner for his crystals. I understand that. I think the crystals thing is weird and I don't like it and nerdy and dorky, but I don't really care. So another one of my fans on my private page where those things were said told Chris Tanner about it on his page, and then Chris Tanner asked to join my page, and so I sent him a message and I was like, hey man, you can join my Facebook group, the Prepper's Bunker, but I don't want you following up with this whole post and stuff. I wish you were never told about that. I'm not gonna, I can't control what people say. But and he was like, I don't remember what he said. And I was like, look, I'm just saying, I understand why they said what they said. I'm not big into your crystals or anything else either. However, it's fine. I don't care, but I don't want you starting trouble. And I think he just said, you don't know what the F you're talking about, and has never talked to me again or messaged me or responded to messages or anything. So whatever. Don't care. Yeah, my buddy Red Gat said Jacob is blessed because he has geared his employment to jobs that he can carry firearms and knives every day without fear of losing his job. Solid choice, and he's on the other side. Sadly, a lot of people are on the other side. It's shocking to me how many employers have strict regulations on those things, and I'm so uncomfortable with that I don't think that it could even be an option for me. Like I'm gonna carry a gun, so it is what it is. It's a hard decision to make, but you got to put food on the table. You got to make money. I know that. Learn medicine, chemistry, a little business. You'll always have loot. Yeah, but the other thieves are defensive of that loot. Bastards. Yeah, Gun Cotton said quality of life is something too few people consider. I agree. Grillian asked, how much property could you set up hunts? I've only got 5 acres. I hunt on my property, but I couldn't set up like guided hunts and bring people out here and shoot stuff. I don't have enough property for that, but I definitely set up hunts for myself and for family and enjoy it thoroughly. You can make ethanol, wine, rum from cane fruit, grapes, anything with sugar. Grow mushrooms with waste. That's awesome. Make ethanol. I actually, on that topic, I want to get some cider apples and make traditional cider fermented with the apple skins themselves. Something that I'm highly interested in. I'd like to make mead or wine or anything else too, the traditional way. I'm very interested in doing anything the traditional way. I'm not really big into alcohol at all, but I would like to make some of my own. What's up, G-Dog from New Zealand? I don't get a lot of people here from New Zealand, especially since I posted a video about the shooting, but that's cool. I would like to visit there. Corey asked about the Savvy Sniper Sling. I've heard of it, but off the top of my head, I really don't remember exactly how it works. I think that my sling works very similar, but I think my sling is much more simple. And that was of utmost importance when I came up with the design of my sling in Afghanistan, because I was tired of the freaking 3-point sling that we're all issued. That was a nightmare because it was too complicated. He said he thinks $140 is overpriced. You know, it's hard running a business and it's really hard selling rifle slings. I sell mine as cheap as I can and I make them all by hand, and I have a million different options for different colors and stuff like that. But the only person who pays for it is me. And by pay for it, I mean the only person who suffers for it, because it's not an easy way to do things. Running any small business is brutally hard. So, and being competitive with big manufacturers. So I'm not going to say that $140 isn't, you know, it's a lot of money. 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 It doesn't matter what you're buying. $140 is good money, especially for a strap. But you know, if you really like it, you run the crap out of that thing, you like it, and it works intuitively for you, in the long run, that could be nothing. $140 could be nothing. If you don't like it, it's a different story. Buyer's remorse sucks. So Jonathan said he's been running the SADF pattern 83 vest. Or am I aware of it? I am not aware of it, but if you send me pictures of it at my email, thepreppersbunkeroutdoors@gmail.com, or send me a picture of it on my Instagram at thepreppersbunkeroutdoors, I'd be happy to take a look at it. Sounds interesting. Gun cotton, wild yeast fermenting is very interesting for baking or brewing. Absolutely. All right, Nerve asked, did I hear about the cannabis gun ban and Black Rifle Coffee? I did not, but Black Rifle Coffee is on my crap list right now because I think they're fake as crap. I've just recently come to realize. They do all of this promotion with guns and everything else in America and freedom, but when have they ever actually stood up and used their platform to stand up for gun rights? Hollywood advertises themselves with guns. That doesn't mean they're pro-gun. That doesn't mean anything. When are they actually going to stand up for the things that they talk about and use their incredibly large platform for good? They don't. And recently they've been sharing the crap out of the Burning Man parties and all of this human worship stuff, which is satanic. They're just sharing the crap of a bunch of satanic stuff. And I'm like, huh, how did Black Rifle Coffee get so big selling coffee? Just another freaking, I'm not buying it. I think they're no good. No bueno. They're not on my go list anymore. They're now on my no-go list. I could be proven wrong, though. It's an illegal gun reclassification that was passed by a non-elected government official. Oh, you're talking about in Canada. I did hear about yeah, okay, I heard about the gun ban and Black Rifle Coffee being on the gun ban. For you guys up there in Canada, you know, I've got a friend who I would consider not a close friend, not a friend I know really well, but a guy that I really like. And he posted asking people's opinions on this gun ban, and some bimbo retard was like, I think that the gun laws should be made by the victims of assault rifles. And I'm like, first off, you're acting like, how many shootings have you had in Canada with assault rifles? They've always been illegal up there, essentially. You can't just walk around. You can't hunt with them. You can't buy them easily like you can here. You got all these regulations. I called her a freaking flaming retard and told her not to reproduce. And sadly, my buddy, who I did not expect at all, was like, oh, well, we respect her opinion, blah, 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 blah. Here's the problem is, if you support these gun control measures and stuff like that, you are the problem. You are the roadblock to liberty, and you are what empowers the communists from making these laws possible. And, you know, I know some awesome people in Canada that are super against all of this. I know it's super political, but it's sad to me, some of the conservative Canadians that I would have thought that would have been staunchly against this just aren't. Maybe it's because guns have been gone there for so long that's not part of their culture. I don't actually really care what it is, because a liberty-minded individual who wants to be able to defend their God-given rights cannot tolerate someone telling them what firearms they can and can't own. It's just crap. Yeah, Trudeau, somebody up there in Canada needs to remove Trudeau from existence. Um, yeah, making ethanol and everything else like that from scratch is really, really cool. Okay, Jonathan said he did a video on Black Rifle Coffee, and they're endorsed by Mark Rockefeller. I'm assuming just that that's a Rockefeller. I'm not familiar with Mark himself, but that sounds like some globalist garbage, which doesn't surprise me at all. In fact, all of those guys, and Matt Best included, all of them, leave a bad taste in my mouth. They're just promoting just worldly trash, and I think they're all just no good. That's the problem. Is mentioned they have almost no gun crime. You have this country with almost no gun crime, and you're banning guns, and people are okay with it. It's terrible. It's awful. Like, how? Well, okay, so I say people are okay with it. Gun Cotton said we are not okay with it. Some people are okay with it. It seems like more people than I would expect are okay with it. In America, I would say almost the majority are okay with further encroaching gun regulations and stuff like that. And the reality is, the Second Amendment is not about America, and it's not about the Bill of Rights is about God-given rights that you have as a human being. Now, they should only be enforced by the US government to protect the individual, and instead, people don't view the federal government's job as to defend individual liberty. In fact, they view it as the opposite. And they view the state's job as to protect the individual from the federal government. Nobody knows how any of this works, and nobody thinks about these things logically, and they're rewarded for it, which is why all of these things are possible. It's just freaking terrible. I'm not familiar with Adolphus Patrol, but we will have to get, if you want, let me know what you mean through email or message or in a comment if it's not Secret Squirrel. Yeah, G-Dog said we had pretty much zero gun crime except for the Australian who came here for his shoot up. All right, so G-Dog, we got to talk about this because I have the footage to this day of that shooting, downloaded it. When the dude is walking into the mosque, there's already one of his AR mags on the ground. As a guy who's been shot at, returned fire, done the whole shooting thing, it looks like crap. It looks like a cheap Hollywood fantasy of what a mosque murder would look like. And when you look at like his manifesto and stuff, of course, it's pushed through the media that he was conservative and out there to kill Muslims and this and that. And his manifesto is talking about being a communist and overthrowing the free market. So here's the problem. No shooting or murder will ever be a reason for gun control. Any shooting or murder of any scale is a reason for ridding yourself of gun control. And people are like, oh, it's just this crazy guy's fault that we have this gun control. No, it's your fault. Any person who says that, it is their fault, because they are saying if something happens and somebody else does something stupid, that they're inalienable, that means cannot be taken away, their inalienable rights can be taken away. And if you believe that a right can be taken away, you don't believe that right exists. You believe it's a privilege. So all these, there's so many false flags. It's bad. And all you have to do on almost any of this stuff is look at it closely. I'm not talking about being a conspiracy theorist. Look at it in slow motion, pray about it, and think about it for a while. Try and put yourself in their shoes. Try and look at different angles and stuff. And you're like, wait a second. What's going on here? This doesn't make sense. This can't be real. It's crap. And all of it leads to a one world government and to Christian persecution. That's the ultimate end goal of the entire deal. And everybody's going to be on board with it as a general rule. So, especially as a Christian, you need to be watching this stuff, and you need to get training, and you need to learn to live without all this, because you ain't going to have it. Yeah, I've got cousins in Canada too. Like I said, my friend is a survival guy and a prepper, and was not just grossly offended by what was going on or the people who are supporting it. And it's just, it made me really sad. It really did. So Gun Cotton, where I disagree with you, he said we have no rights. They can be changed on the whim of our government of the day. I disagree. Your rights are inalienable. They cannot support them, or they can choose to support them, but at the end of the day, you have them if you are willing to take them. I have the right to own a machine gun, but in our day and age, in our country with our laws, if I'm going to own a machine gun, I have to procure one or modify one, and then I have to be willing to shoot anybody who's going to take it. I have the right to do it. Now, a machine gun is not very practical for fighting or for anything else for the civilian. So it makes more sense for me to not die and to take that stand and to own my assault rifles and battle rifles. However, that doesn't mean that I wouldn't fight for the right to own the machine gun. That doesn't mean that the government has the right to take that machine gun or to say that I can't have that machine gun. The right exists regardless of whether the government supports it. The problem is once you really think about this stuff and look at what a right is, it entails responsibility. If you understand how all this works, you have a responsibility to do something about it. And that is where things get really uncomfortable. And that's why a lot of people will never accept this doctrine and this reality, is because they don't want the responsibility. The responsibility is a heavy burden to carry. And where do you take that responsibility and make it into action? That's where the problem comes in, and that's where we don't know. As an individual, even as a larger body of people. Yeah, so they talk about criminals and gangs, and they're doing these gun buybacks and stuff. And they're talking about gun control, and like the criminals are going to come in and turn in their guns for money. Like G Dog was saying, no, they're not. The criminals will benefit the most when everyone is disarmed. Take away their knives too. The criminals are going to keep everything they can get. They're going to steal more guns and knives, and they will have absolute power. A lot of the big criminals are probably subsidized by your government. Governments thrive on chaos. Governments get more power from chaos and fear, and they get more money. And the people who run the government get more powerful and more rich the more afraid all of the people are. So that's the ultimate goal. So, where does that leave us? You got to deal with all of these terrified people who are scared of their shadow. And every day we're scared of something new. Right now it's the coronavirus. The coronavirus is the common cold. That's what it is. If you have the common cold, you test positive for coronavirus. So, and anybody that dies that happens to have the common cold gets marked down as a COVID-19 death. Everybody's losing their freaking minds. The entire world shook by somebody, American taxpayers have been paying $3.7 billion a year to weaponize the common cold. It can't be that easy. We can't let it be that easy, people. So, Corey said people need to be tested in order to understand what freedom is or what freedom costs from what he sees. The answer is to work to become ungovernable. Get training with firearms and survival and homesteading and try to become ungovernable. Raise children, raise godly children, teach them what morals are, teach them how to survive without anybody's help. And you will have defeated the globalist agenda. Now, what it means when the globalist agenda advances, I don't know. G-Dog said gangs were paying double to people for their ARs what the government offered. Oh my gosh. And if the gangs are tax subsidized, which they probably are, if they're government subsidized, that means that you are paying to disarm yourself. You can pay double and pay the gangs to do it, or you can pay half and pay the police, which are the government's gang, to do it. And I don't want anybody on here to think I'm anti-police, but I'm also not pro-police. Police are people. There's a lot of bad ones. There's a few good ones. Same as anything else, but with a lot of weight on it. Man, I don't know. Get tough, live to learn rough. Yeah, Antifa is definitely subsidized. Our whole government subsidized because corporations and government are in bed. We have government officials in Monsanto and Monsanto in the government, and the same with every other thing. Pepsi and Coke own, almost, and Unilever, which is partially owned by Bill Gates. Between Unilever, Pepsi, and Coke, almost everything in the grocery store is owned, and everything that's not owned by them is owned by Monsanto. And all the clothes that you wear, all of the Levi's, everything that you buy to live a regular person, regular Joe Schmo life is owned by these elitist New World Order organizations. And people say these these companies just want to make money. They're just, no, they have an agenda. And every country has, for the most part, has an agenda to work together. And all of this works against the people, against Christians, and against liberty. And if you're not a Christian, that's fine. But Christianity and liberty are directly tied together. And you will see true Christianity, of course, is not Catholicism, but you will see them come hand in hand. Entity owns you, and you have uh, not only a value in your liberty, but a value in other people's liberties. And it's, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I'll probably leave that there for right now. Red Gat said we need to watch The Devil We Know. Sounds good to me. So yeah, G Dog said the United Nations agenda is socialism. The leftist governance is following their lead. One world for all, etc., etc. They know what is good for us, apparently. I think it goes way beyond the United Nations. I think the United Nations is just one face of what we're looking at. And all I think that is needed, every world war, what we have seen is alpha males and moral men dying and leaving behind a greater and greater population of effeminate little communists. And Poland got it hard during and after World War II. Just got smashed, just leaving behind a bunch of little commies. Luckily, it hasn't stayed that way entirely. A lot of awesome people in Poland now that I know personally, but Europe got just crushed. And all that I believe we need for this new world order is another phony world war that will be fought by leaders who are all actually best buddies. And all of the livestock, which is the average person, will be sent out to the slaughter. And what will be left is what they want: women, children, and effeminate men. And the Americas are a stronghold, are the last stand of liberty and morality in a lot of ways. And it's been, obviously, we've been attacked from the inside on that note, with the illegal immigration, the illegal gun trade, all of this crap that's government subsidized to destabilize our freedom and our liberty. But the final blow is going to come. And, when we talk about New World Order and stuff like that, Walter Cronkite was in his little party getting the Federalist World Peace Award or whatever, and talking about how if a one world government can only come before Christ under Satan, that he's sitting at the right hand of Satan. And they all laugh and this and that and the other. It's legit. It's been in the works for a long time. They know that for the one world government to happen, Americans have to give up liberties, and America is the target of these people to create a one world government. America's the last stand. And so it's been going on for a long time. George Bush Sr. was talking about the one world government and how it's what's required for world peace. And guess what? It is how they will get world peace. World peace will come under a one world government. The unifying factor that will create world peace in the one world government will be a hatred of Christians, which will start with the whole mark of the beast, the hunting of Christians, and will be followed by the tribulation. That's interesting stuff, Joe Kansas. People always get crazy with numbers. That's pretty wild with all those 19s. Kalergi plan. Look it up. I'll have to look that up for sure. Illuminati are Jesuits. Vatican. All roads lead to Rome. I don't know where I stand on this anymore. I agree. But I think it's deeper in that. To truly be satanic is to worship yourself, according to our Bible, and according to the Satanic Bible, and pretty much according to the Buddhists as well, randomly, for whatever that means. We have non-God-fearing Jews in this world, traditional Jews, and maybe what we call Jews are really Pharisees. I'm by no means anti-Semitic, and I think that we could make every country in the Middle East freaking globe, turn it all to sand except for Israel, and we'd be in a better place. I think Israel gives more technology and more benefit to the world than every Middle Eastern country combined. However, they are not Jesus-believing people. And at the end of the day, to worship Satan in its truest form is to worship yourself. But all you have to do to worship Satan is worship anybody except for God. So when we look at the Jesuits, right, we can look at all of these other organizations that seem to be equally evil, and everybody's pointing different fingers all over the place for the Antichrist and for, this kind of stuff. And the truth is, they're probably all right. All of these secret organizations and the Illuminati and the Bilderbergs and all of them are all probably directly having their strings tied by their highest ranking dude. It's probably essentially the Antichrist, if not physically the Antichrist, over all of these organizations together, with a undying, unwavering, and unchanging plan, which is why liberty will never make a comeback, because we don't have a singular goal, a singular mission, and an unending and undying struggle to get there, because we are all individuals and we all have different problems and families and everything else. How could we win against something like that? We're too easily distracted. So it all leads to Israel. Order out of chaos. Ab-ado chaos, or whatever. True or false? WR with C. Oh, that's chemistry stuff. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Global financial collapse in less than 10 years. Let me check this out. All right, for the people still watching, this is my real people right here that are still watching, and luckily YouTube analytics will probably never see this because it's too far in. All right, we want to get rid of the Federal Reserve, right? Pretty much unanimously. I think I said from the beginning of this COVID deal that I think that this COVID deal is set up to get rid of physical money and go to an entirely electric system. And I didn't have I didn't have any reason to say that from the beginning. So I didn't make a YouTube video about it because I don't have a bunch of bullet points to give you to why I believe that this is true. But my gut told me that the purpose of the COVID-19 scare was to get rid of cash money altogether. Our cash money is already worthless. It's already fiat money. I realize that. But I can give you dollar bills and buy something from you with no paper trail. That is dangerous to the federal government and to a one world government. And I just had this gut feeling that that's what all of this was about. Now, liberty minded people like myself are all talking about getting rid of the Federal Reserve or auditing the Federal Reserve. And in concept, I'm all about it. The problem is, I think that that's what they're going to push towards. The Christians will support it. The libertarians will support it. Everybody with half a brain will support it. But what will happen is they will accomplish it. That will have been the plan from the very beginning. And with the destruction of the Federal Reserve will be the destruction of untraceable money. Now, Gun Cotton just said barter never dies. Well, if Christians can't buy or sell or own, then yes, barter will be all that will be left outside of communities that have their own structure of some sort or another. So you got to think, if we are being led to believe something as patriots, with the information that we are given, this is how PSYOPs works. You say one thing, and I'm like, the ultimate goal is like, you want this knife. But I don't just say, you want this knife. I say, that Ontario SP5, it just sucks. 1075, a lot of people love the steel. It's not that good. It's not that good. All right, $50. $50, that sounds really cheap, but it's not that cheap. There's other stuff that's cheaper. I sit here, I'll talk crap about this knife, but everybody's like, he hates that knife. Screw that guy. I want that knife. I mean, it's just, when someone important, a politician or whatever, when they're talking, everybody's watching their mouth. Okay? Watch their hands. What are they doing? That's what you need to understand. So, if the average consensus today within libertarians and people are paying attention is we need to abolish the Federal Reserve, why is that? Why have we been given enough information to believe that? And how could that be used to our detriment? I'm not here to support the Federal Reserve. I wouldn't lift a finger to defend the Federal Reserve. But if our government wanted to get rid of the Federal Reserve, how could they benefit? Because if they can, it's going to be to our detriment. All right. The Genesis 6 Conspiracy by Gary Wayne. I will check that out for sure. The Last Huntsman. By the way, The Last Huntsman will be getting one of my Exodus knife and tool prototypes here pretty soon. Great guy. Check out his YouTube channel. Does awesome knife reviews and just all around good content. Go ahead and remind me of that, buddy. Send me a message or something. I'm interested. I need to be doing a lot more reading than I'm doing. I used to read every day on my breakfast, lunch, and after the gym. I don't know what happened. Yeah, everybody's talking about China. It's so dumb because I've been obviously most of you guys know I've been against China forever. And now that it's popular to be against China, I'm looking around like, you people are so stupid. Because everybody's like, China brought the corona here, blah, 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 blah. It's common knowledge at this point. Everybody knows it, that the US made this strain of coronavirus in the Wuhan factory, and we've been paying 3.7 billion taxpayer dollars a year to do it. So can we stop with the bat narrative and blaming China and this and that and the other thing? China's working with us because China's government, our government, are having their strings pulled by the same entity, and the person who's going to lose is you. That's what's going on. And the Bible says this: there is no nation against nation and king against king. It's powers and principalities. It's good versus evil. It's a spiritual warfare, and there's going to be real warfare. But everything that everybody believes they're fighting for is a lie. All right. Vaccine push, public sterilization. The vaccine push. Goodness gracious, it's bad. And people are like, again, the freaking COVID-19 is the common cold. People are like, we need the vaccine. And I'm like, the vaccine doesn't work for the flu. Oh, the flu's different every year. Of course it doesn't work for the flu. It's not the same thing. So you think that the vaccine for the flu, by the way, it's like mandatory in so many places, it's never worked. Every year we have more people vaccinated for the flu. Every year we have more of the flu, but it's going to work for the common cold? Come on, people. Golly. Don't do this to me. Don't make me all bitter and angry. So stupid. So Grillian says, Israel admitted to intent to destroy USA. They will replace us, all trade center of Earth, Russia as protecting parasite, China, and see Asia manufacturing. That's wild. I don't know. The Calurgy plan will make you go, wow. Gun Cotton, can you send me an email or a message just with the name of that plan so that I'll remember? Because I won't remember it after this. And the live chat, I'm pretty sure, disappears. All right, so Joe says, great points. I would look into Jordan Maxwell's work on the Illuminati and their connections to communism, Jesuits, and the Vatican, all revolutions led by the Illuminati. So I'm interested in that. I will look into that. I did find in my own research the connections between the Jesuits and the communists and the Vatican. But I'm always willing to look deeper. And the Vatican's just a bad deal. And honestly, I've known some really well-intentioned Catholics and really good people. And I'm just like, how can you read the Bible and do this? How? I feel bad for them. I don't know why they do what they're doing, but we already have 30 strains of COVID-19. Jeez. Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. Definitively, the United States of America is a socialist nation and has been a socialist nation since 1989. And everybody always pulls out all of these words that they think that they understand that are emotionally charged. They have no idea what they're talking about. And we're all like, well, yeah, vote Trump. We're going to destroy the socialists. And it's like, smoke and mirrors. Richard said people who blame it on bats are stupid. People have been eating bats for more than 10,000 years with far less cooking and cleaning skills, and now only in 2019 it's a problem. People, man, I'm telling you. They hate us because we are in the image and followers of God, the seed of the woman. I think there's a lot of biblical evidence that the powers that be, seed of the serpent, are Nephilim. Thoughts? Weren't Nephilim, I'm not super spun up on this, weren't they the giants that were bred by fallen angels? I'm not super spun up on all of that. I'm sure it's evil, but I don't know. G-Dog, thank you for being on here, man. I would love to have you anytime. So feel free to get in touch with me. Stick around. I appreciate you, especially coming from New Zealand, because usually when I get anybody from any other country, they're communists. It's just the standard. Not the rule, but pretty close to it. Brendan O'Connell. All right, I'm interested. So, but I don't watch any YouTube. So I might watch a couple videos, but to be honest, I would probably be lying if I said I would follow him, because unless he's really good. But I watch one YouTube channel. It's Donut Media. It's about cars, and it's ridiculous. Don't know why. I have no excuse. Okay, so Radon said the DoD has pre-ordered 500 million doses of the vaccine, and Trump says they are getting ready to administer the vaccine to the entire country. The military is being briefed. I know, personally, read between the lines, I know military is being briefed and being told to prepare to forcefully vaccinate. So think about where we're headed. Recreation of NSADP. I'm going to admit, Grillian, you're on a whole different level than me, man. I have no idea what you're talking about. Interesting. Miss Kiss My Butt Socialist said Nephilim, giant spawn of angels from heaven mating with regular women. Mentioned the giant skeletons found all over the world that the governments won't let anybody see. I've just actually been spinning up on that recently, and it's crazy. Up to 100 years ago, it was regular to find giant skeletons. And from a source that's maybe not credible, some of them appear to be as much as 40 feet tall skeletons found. What kind of a world were they living in that has been erased from our history when people, some kind of beings were walking around that were 40 feet tall? And this has been suppressed from general knowledge. This is a 10-inch blade. What's that going to do to something that's 40 feet tall? Grillian said he worked in pharmaceutical research. This isn't a regular vaccine. Oh, I'm sure it's not. Oh, I'm sure. They are the reason that God brought the flood. Nephilim is the Hebrew term for them. Gigantes is the Greek. The fallen angels can directly be correlated to the ancient gods. Example, Azazel, fallen angel of war, directly relates to Ares or Mars. Interesting. Jesse Brooks, how are you doing, bud? There was a lot of genetic experimentation in far ancient times. It's interesting to think about. They talk about how incredible technology, they believe technology was before the flood, and stuff that we're just finding that doesn't make any sense. And Noah knew about all this. I wish we could find Noah's. Actually, my pastor growing up found Noah's Ark and found ancient inscriptions on Mount Ararat. If you can find it, look up Project Von Bora. It was crushed, and now he's dead. Project Von Bora, if you guys want to look that up. I am insanely interested. Last Huntsman said, hence the royalty of old and today claims they have a divine right to rule. They are not referencing the Lord God of the Most High. Gun Cotton said 40-foot Donald Trump. I don't think I could handle listening to a 40-foot tall Donald Trump. I might stick this through my ears. It's really hard to be a Orca Winfrey. It's always been really hard to be a strong conservative that didn't like Donald Trump, because everybody that hates Donald Trump, I say everybody, I'm exaggerating, but most everybody that hates Donald Trump is a communist. Just dirtbags, just liberal, slave dirtbags. And so, and a lot of the conservatives that absolutely love Donald Trump have good intentions, believe the best of him. I believe they're just misled. And so it's like the worst position to be in, to be anti-Donald Trump, because you think he is a communist, a Democrat, a lifelong elitist, politician, corrupt, all the things that they think he's not because he said he's not. But these people haven't even read his book. He has the doggone autobiography where he's talking about the need for gun control and single-payer health insurance and et cetera, and et cetera, and et cetera, and mega farm and everything else. You don't just write a book or have a book written about you and your core beliefs and then change it all 4 years later. And so what's happened, it's almost like a relationship. It's almost like our whole country is dating, or conservatives are dating Donald Trump, because when you first start dating someone, you see them for what you want them to be. You see them for what your fantasy of them is. And then a relationship starts falling apart when your fantasies start falling apart. But with Donald Trump, what you're seeing of him is what they want you to see of him. That fantasy doesn't have to fall apart, and they continue to bolster that fantasy. And yeah, The Last Huntsman, you can send it to me. I can buy it myself, but I'd be happy for you to send it to me. So that your fantasies don't really have to be broken. Flatjack said Trump's grandma died 6/6/66. That's crazy. It's just bad. But the thing is, I don't think any single one of these politicians matters. I don't think any of these countries' politicians matter, because they're all bad. Elizabeth Christ? No way. I'll have to look that up. That's terrifying. Elizabeth Christ died 6/6/66. That's not good. That's bad. I don't know. I just, I'll pray for Donald Trump. I hope that I'm wrong about Donald Trump. And that's the thing people don't understand is I hope I'm wrong on all of that. But pup of the elites club, yeah. And, how can people believe that Donald Trump hates the Clintons? Goes golfing with them, hangs out, best friends. Hillary Clinton says that America needs a president like Donald Trump. And everybody's like, oh, he hates her. He's going to lock her up. Donald Trump's going to lock up Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton's his ace boon coon. They were hanging out on Epstein's Island with Joe Biden, eating babies and banging children. My wife says it's time for me to go to bed now. That probably means I said too much. All right, well, it has been almost 2 hours. I greatly appreciate everybody who has hung out for this. Trump born 6/14, Genesis 6/14. Wow. Project Von Bora, I believe it's VONBORA, Von Bora. So for anybody still watching, before I go, check out Project Von Bora. I don't know if it still exists. It might have been erased from history. But yeah, it's Pastor Edward Crawford, tiny little church, went out on a personal mission with information that he had multiple times to Mount Ararat and found Noah's Ark, found inscriptions written on stone, and can you imagine if we could find a historical reference from Noah to the pre-flood world? That, the very thought of that just sends tingles down my spine. Crazy stuff. All right, guys. Well, you all have a good night. Thank you for watching with me. I'll be around. Feel free to reach out to me at any time. The Preppers Bunker Outdoors at Gmail. The Preppers Bunker Outdoors on Instagram. And on Facebook, it is the Preppers Bunker group. So, have a blessed evening. Thank you for watching.